From Becker's Healthcare in Chicago, this is Healthcare This Week. I'm Lindsay Dunn, Editor-in-Chief of Becker's Hospital Review. Here are 5 of the biggest stories in healthcare for the week of October 14th. In the biggest news of this week, just before midnight on Thursday, President Obama signed into law legislation that would reopen the federal government and raise the debt ceiling without making any changes to the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act as originally sought by House Republicans. The measure funds the government through January 15th and raises the debt ceiling through February 7th. Senate leaders crafted the agreement and the House approved the deal just before 10:30 at night on Wednesday. Good news for employers this week. A study by Aon Hewitt found that premium increases for health insurance offered by large employers were the lowest they've been in more than a decade. In 2013, premiums rose an average of just 3.3% compared to 4.9% in 2012 and 8.5% in 2011. Employee out-of-pocket costs increased by 12.8% this year to $2,239. In 2012, out-of-pocket spending went up by 6.2% to $1,984. On Thursday, United Health Group, the nation's largest insurer, announced net earnings of $1.57 billion for this year's third quarter, up just less than 1% compared to the $1.56 billion the company earned in the same quarter last year. The company reported $30.6 billion in revenue for the quarter, a 12% year-over-year increase. Layoffs continue at a rapid pace. Earlier this week, SSM Healthcare in St. Louis eliminated nearly 590 jobs since announcing efforts to standardize practices across its facilities and reduce operating costs. Healthcare had the most job cuts of any sector during September, the most recent month analyzed, with more than 8,000 layoffs according to a report by Challenger Gray and Christmas. So far this year, healthcare organizations have cut more than 41,000 jobs. Finally, a study by Harvard School of Public Health gained a lot of media traction this week. It reported nonprofit hospital CEOs received an average of $600,000 in compensation annually, but there was no significant association between CEO compensation and the hospital's performance on quality measures. While this finding garnered most of the headlines, it's worth noting that researchers also failed to find a significant correlation between CEO pay and hospital financial performance. Additionally, the study examined CEO compensation in 2009, a year before the National Healthcare Reform Law was finalized and pay-for-performance efforts were as prevalent as they are today. That's all for this week's edition of Healthcare This Week. We'll be back next week with 5 news stories impacting our industry.